you've been, really involved in Flutter, and ByteConf was awesome last week. That was great to watch, and I think it's recorded, so you can go back and watch a lot of those presentations, because they're talking about a lot of the newest tools and libraries and things like that that are out there. Um, yeah. Anyways, well, I'll get started, and I guess I kind of wanted to say from the beginning. I don't know, if you've never tried it before, just looking to just make some apps, or have a development environment running yet. But if you're stuck on anything for any reason, always feel free to reach out and say something, because we can even, we're happy to help you, walk you through it, or even share your screen and help on the on your code and help you out. So, and that's kind of my my idea for this is getting everybody at least going, running an app on their computer. And but I know sometimes it can get frustrating, getting started. So I'm going to go ahead and present now. Let's see. Some else. So the flutter.dev website is really great. It has, really great tutorials, and also on getting started. So, basically what you want to do is install Flutter onto your computer if you haven't already. Set up an editor. I like to use Visual Studio Code. So that's kind of the text editor I like to use. And so you want to get that set up. And then, okay, so we're going to create an app. I guess it doesn't matter. I did the tutorial, I guess, on Android Studio, but I guess I actually should have done it on this one. Or just getting it started. What you want to do is open up your
Carl, I wanted to let you know that I don't think anybody can see your screen yet.
Oh, they can't? Okay, let me get that fixed. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I had another thing open. Okay, let's try this again.
Cool, we see it now.
Cool.
Yep, much better.
All right, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so the flutter.dev website, that's a great place to get started. You can go look at all the docs. They have different showcase apps that you can build. Well, I guess these are the apps of real companies using Flutter already, which is amazing and growing. When you get started, so to get started, basically you want to download Flutter onto your system. So then basically do that. And if anybody hasn't done this already, needs help, let me know. Always happy to help. And so you want to get Visual Studio Code. You want to download the Flutter and Dart plugins, so that it recognizes different things in your Flutter app. And then what you want to do is you want to also set up a simulator. And basically the way that works, let me quit this. Let's go ahead and, so after you've got it running, let's go ahead and start with the tutorial. So we're just going to do write your first Flutter app. And it's part of the Google Code Labs. Basically, we're going to write a Flutter app and we're going to use the Flutter SDK and a simulator, which I'll get to in a second. So we're going to first create this Starter Flutter app. And basically, what you want to do is you want to go to your Visual Studio Code, or if you have your terminal like running locally, and you'll want to basically go in here and run the commands flutter create clt flutter demo. So cool. So it looks like I got a bunch of stuff. I don't even know what most of this is. CD into the folder. And you'll also want to open it up in your VS Code. So you want to go to open, CLT Flutter demo, or I guess find that file that was created when you do Flutter create and name it. So now we got a basic Flutter app. And this is kind of the structure of it. You have your Android files, you have your iOS files, and then your main Dart, which is basically, the main, basically the first file that runs your code. And they give you like a free, I guess not a free, but just like an example. So we're gonna try to run this. But what happens, if I do flutter run? Oh, I don't have a emulator. If you haven't created one already, which I'm sure most of you have, I'm probably wasting your time. You can go to Xcode if you have for Mac or for Android. You have to use Visual Android Studio. But here you can do, see. Should be able to just, well, you know what? I think you can just search for simulator. I haven't done this in a minute. Because once you get it up and running, it's pretty easy. So yeah, if you just look up if you're on Mac, your Xcode simulator. Creates a simulator. You can select, you can make new devices. You can run different sizes and everything. I think this is iPhone 11 Pro. Now that we have the up, we can do Flutter run. And it will spin up your app. Now, it always takes a little bit to spin up the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this tutorial. And like I said, you'll edit mostly the main Dart in this tutorial. That's where we're going to be running pretty much everything. And So they give us a basic app to start with. And if you want to follow along, the link is here. If you just go to flutter.dev, docs, get started, write your first app, that's where we are. But anyways, it gives you, as you can see, starter app that allows you to increment the number of times that you push the button. And that's kind of like fun to check out. It has descriptions and of how this all works. But essentially everything is made of widgets. And I think that's kind of a interesting thing to like think about, especially if you're coming from other languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because you don't use any of that. You just use widgets, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and in here and replace all the code from this, I guess the first step here, and replace our main Dart. So what do we got going on here? So it looks like we're pulling in material Dart, which is a material design package. We're running a main something called My App, right? So we have a widget called My App that extends a stateless widget. And this widget's going to have a scaffold with an app bar with text that says "Welcome to Flutter," with a body that's centered, that has a child that has text that's centered "Hello World." Cool. So the great thing also about this is you have hot reload, so you can just do R, and then boom, there you go. Got our "Hello World," and you can go in and like edit this, all using these, And Ryan, feel free to jump in if I'm not using the right terminology on some of this stuff, because I'm still learning as well. But you can do things like, if you wanted to style this "Hello World," maybe it's kind of boring, right? You can go in here and do style, and then let's do text style. And let's do font weight. I mean, let's make it bold. Font weight, bold. So we're all right. Save that. Hot reload. Okay, now it's bold. I'm gonna do font size, maybe. I'm not sure exactly how that one works.
It takes a double. Just put in a number. So you can just do, instead of font size, you can just type in 20.
Put it in my font.
Yeah.
25. There we go. Boom. See, look. See how it looks? That looks a lot better. I didn't have to write any CSS or JavaScript. It's threw in, what is this? Package argument. So it's also nice with Visual Studio Code when you download the Flutter package that you can highlight over these different things. So you can go and look at all these like constructors and widgets. So let's move on. Let's see, we use material design. Main Dart, we talked about that. Scaffold widget. So basically, your basic scaffold will take, things like an app bar. It'll take a bottom navigation bar. It can take a drawer, which is really cool. So basically, it like comes out from the left. All right, so now we're gonna we're going to download what's called an external package. And you can find all of these on pub.dev. And there are an unbelievable amount of packages. This is just unbelievable what people are building on this. I mean, you know, if you need like an HTTP like thing, a parser, like, hey, here we go. They have, or another one I like is like called Cache Network Image. Here we go. Yeah. This one's really cool. It basically can cache like pictures from, like if you have pictures on your website, you can cache it and then render it in your app. But anyways, there are just like unbelievable amounts of Dart and Flutter packages. So we're going to download one. And this one's called English Words. So we can go check this one out. And that's the other great thing about it, is that all this is open source. So you can go, if you really wanted to learn about this package, that's, I guess it uses up 5,000 English words, you can go to the GitHub repository and you can go in here and you can say, oh, let's go check out, like, you know, let's check out their words, right? It's all it's all there. It's all there for you to go and have at it if you want to. But we're going to download this English Words package, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to add it to our pubspec YAML file. So we're going to head over there in Visual Studio, and you can see we already have stuff in here. So we have, you know, our environment version, dependencies, Flutter SDK. Yep, that might be useful. Cupertino icons. Okay, so we're going to go put this under dependencies. And then we're going to run the command in our terminal called flutter pub get. Not sure what's going on here. Because I did it in my other one. Oh. Dependency may only have one source. I don't know what's going on. So hold on.
It's the indentation on English words. Take one off.
Ah, okay. Sorry about that. Thank you, Ryan. There we go. Cool. So now we have it. Next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to import the package into our main Dart. That way we can use it. So you're going to want to take this green part right here. Go to our main Dart. Up at the top under Material Dart. Go ahead and add that there. It's going to like yell at us. And when you see this little yellow light bulb over here, you can go and check out and it'll tell you, like, it'll give you suggestions, or if you hover over it, it's basically saying unused. Like, we added it, but it's not being used. Which is really great that it, like, you know, identifies that for you. Because a lot of times you have helps you clean up code and things like that. So now we're going to use the English words package to generate the text instead of using the string, hello world, because right now it's just hello world. So we're going to first create a final word. We're going to, I guess, create a final called word pair, and it's going to use that package to create a word pair.random. And we're going to put this right under the build context. All right. And for the child in the body, we're going to go and we're going to use that word pair that we're getting from random and put it in the Pascal case. So we're going to go ahead and remove this one. And then we're going to do flutter run again. And basically the way it works is you have your class that extends a widget, and this widget has this build function, and the build function takes let's see, basically a build context and context and then to basically like build whatever it is that you want in the stateless widget. So basically this is like what we're building. What we're returning is this material app, but we're going ahead and grabbing this word pair here and then throwing it into the material app. So now as you can see, we have this little startup name, Deep Cell. Not too bad. Do hot reload, soul act. Let's see. But each time this is happening, when I'm reloading it, it's basically running this app over and over again. So there we go. Kind of got our app running. Does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Or anybody stuck on anything? Let's see, got any messages? Okay, that's good. Let's move along. So now we're going to add a stateful widget. So as it says here, stateless widgets are immutable. It means like properties can't be changed. These values, like in this one, are all final. So once this is once this is done, like this doesn't change. A stateful widget creates a class. Let's see. Stateful widget maintains state and might change during the lifetime of the widget. It means the stateful widget requires at least two classes. A stateful widget class contains an instance of a state class and the stateful widget class itself. It is mutable and can be thrown away and regenerated, but the state class persists over the lifetime of the widget. So in this step, we're going to create a stateful widget called random words, which creates a state class, random words state. Then we'll use the random words as a child inside the my app stateless widget. Cool. So they gave us the boilerplate code for it. And this is basically what it is. But one cool trick that they talk about, so if under this my app stateless widget, I wanted to create this and create a stateful widget like this one. you can actually type ST and click here and click stateful widget, and it'll build it for you. And I think this one's called random words. And it should look the same. I think it should be. We're going to update the build method in the random word state. So we want to be able to return this text basically. So you can copy that, and we're going to put it in the random word state. Oop, not want all that. Cool. That auto indentation is also a great package that I highly recommend people download. So now we have this random word state that returns a text from this final that grabs the word pair at random from the English words dependency. But now, after we have this, right, we have this word, we no longer need this final word pair, and we don't need this anymore. So because we have this random words class, I guess random words widget. So we're going to get rid of this here. And then we're going to replace that child word pair dot as Pascal case. We're going to replace that with this child random words. So you won't notice a difference when you go back and run it in your terminal. But we are now basically using a stateful widget to like basically put in these random words into the my app stateless widget. All right. Has anybody got a question? Is there anything before we move on to step 4? Don't be shy. Okay. See, I guess Jude had a question. How do you know which widget to add styling to? That's a good question. I know that different widgets take different, I guess, parameters. Ryan, you're welcome to hop in and answer that, or we can.
Yeah, sure, I can answer that. Basically, each widget or each material / Cupertino widget has a set of styles that you can override. So kind of similar to like how a div or a canvas or a text element on the web has a special set of CSS that can only be defined for it. And then there's also some shared CSS. It's a similar sort of pattern here. And you can override all of your widget styles on a theme level. So you can create a custom theme and pass that into your material application. And that'll allow you to set the styles for everything versus just setting styles on individual widgets.
Yeah, there's a there's actually a thing on that. I think in their code lab.
Yeah, they have a code lab specifically for theming.
Yeah, let's see.
I think you're on cookbooks. You want to go down to the next one.
All right. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit. But for example, text can, if you look, if you hover over this one, the text widget, you can go and see, what all it takes. Like I said earlier, this scaffold, takes a drawer, I think. So let me. And just like that, I have a drawer. It's amazing. At least for me, like it's. I was like learning technology, but really, it's like what can this make for me in the shortest amount of time? So I've been super pumped about all the capabilities.
One good rule of thumb is if you see where it says like app bar and there's a colon, usually it takes something that is titled the exact same. But if you hover over that part that has the colon, it tells you what it accepts. So if you hover over app bar, it'll take something that usually, well, I guess that one doesn't count because it's a preferred size widget, but usually it'll be the exact same name as what you see to the left of it. And that can be really, really helpful, especially as you're just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. All right. So in this final step, we're going to create an infinity scroll. So we're going to use the random word state that we have to generate a display of lists, of like word pairs. As the user scrolls through the list, it's just going to continue scrolling down. The list view, which is a widget, Flutter widget builder, has a constructor that allows you to do this. So we're going to add something called suggestions list to the random word state to suggest word pairings, and also add a bigger font variable to make the font size larger. So in the random word state, we're going to want to grab this new code, suggestions in bigger font, and we're going to go put that right under the, right here, pretty sure. Yep. So now we have this. It's going to be like mad at us because it's saying it's not being used, but it's okay. And now we're going to build a build suggestions function to the random word state class that builds the list view that displays all the word pairings. So we're going to add this function, the build suggestions function, which basically returns what's called a list view that has a builder that it can use to basically generate this for us. We're going to add this to the random word state class. I think this is good. Okay. And I'm not going to, I know we've already been on here for like 40 minutes, so I'm not going to jump into all of this, but basically it's going to build this for us. We're going to add a build row function to the random word state. So we're going to grab this widget, the random word state. Actually, hold on. Yeah, that's right. Add that in there. And now in the random word state class, the build method used to build suggestions. Update the build method to use build suggestions rather than directly calling the word generation library. So basically, we're now going to try to use this build suggestions widget. And to do that, we can basically have a title with our text and a home with something called random words. So if we go back up to the top, I think I might have pasted something wrong in here. I think this might be, that might need to go there. All
Looks like
right,
you're missing a closing bracket on the end.
right here. I might have like copied an extra one over. So now here in main Dart under material app, basically this is all we need in the material app now. Find material app, everything in here, or replace. Okay. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, not good. Was not supposed to have moved that one. Hmm. Man, I feel like I've totally dropped the ball because I just had it going.
Maybe you want to undo your changes and then try and copy and paste it again. It looks like your list is showing up, but you're not inside of a scaffold. Material app. Scroll to your build for random words. Yeah, so if you want to wrap the random words, if you want to wrap that in a scaffold, that'll probably get rid of your error. So go back up to your material app and then wrap random words.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
Command period is your shortcut for that, by the way, on Mac. Control period is the shortcut on Windows. Do wrap with widget.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then call that scaffold. And instead of child, call it body.
There we go.
And that gives you the actual thing. And if you want to have an app bar again, or if you want to wrap body, the random words part in a center widget, that may also help so that it's more in the center.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I think I definitely messed up somewhere. Give me 1 second. I forgot which one it was. Man, well, sorry about that. That was a different one. Well, anyways, I obviously messed up part of this. I'm not sure. I was gonna try to see if I could find the what it was called. Oh. I don't know, guys. Might have gone too fast.
So what you could try is you could just try walking through from the hello world and then just copying and pasting the bits of code to get back to where you originally were. It doesn't look like you're missing anything major.
We were good till infinite scroll. So we added this. We add the build suggestions function. Oh, does build suggestions need to be outside of this?
You have an extra D and C in padding as well, and it's not
Yeah.
calling build suggestions.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it looks like it's not calling build suggestions. But yeah, build suggestions shouldn't be inside of build row. It should be outside.
So basically, all this?
Yeah.
You're missing a bracket.
And the bracket too. Ooh. And the semicolon.
All right.
You're missing the closing bracket.
This one. Put it outside this bracket?
Yep.
Oh, what am I doing? Save. Did I get in the right file again? What did we call this? Do you remember? Okay. CLT demo, yeah. Okay. Isn't reference. Added build row. random word state class. Aha, this is what we missed, I think. This is random word state class. Oh, I think I need to
That needs to be in main.dart. So that's where it's getting that scaffold and the app bar. So just put that under where it says home, where you have scaffold and app bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm talking about this right here.
Yeah, that's in main.dart.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's in the random word state class. Method do you build suggestions? Basically as the body. So it uses this like, oh no, you're right. So all of this basically. Okay.
I think you're missing the material app declaration now. So actually, yeah, if you undo this and then scroll down to your state class.
Right here.
To the build method. Yeah, so you'd replace basically what you have there with that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Gotcha.
And then you'll scroll back up, and you want to change the scroll back up to the app declaration. Yeah, and then you want to replace scaffold. You want to get rid of the scaffold now. Just use random words.
Beautiful. Save that. Refresh. And there we go. Yay. Man, it is always it's always one thing to like, walk through this and do it while you're just like going through it, and then it's another thing to do it in front of, all you everybody that joined. Yay, right? So anyways, that's the app. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of a better idea of how this works, and the different things that are available. There's another fun app. It's called a simple to-do list app. This is another good one. If you just Google it, to-do list Flutter, it's like one of the second ones. But yeah, it basically does the same thing, run through the app, basic thing, widgets. And basically it allows you to create a to-do list. And then add things to the to-do list, remove things from the to-do list. You can also do things like add things from a to-do list to a cloud Firestore database, which is really easy to use with Flutter. Here's an example of what I'm on. Where I have information and things stored, and you can do authentication and all that kind of stuff with your Flutter app with Firebase, which is great. So that's pretty much the end of my demo. Sorry for the confusion. That does tend to happen sometimes when you go through things too fast. Always make sure to, when you start skipping steps, like, they're there for a reason. But anyway, so I think that's it. Ryan, do you have anything else, or John?
No, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, we had questions for sure. Questions. Happy to walk through some of this stuff too. Nobody has any questions. Nobody has any questions.
So I have a question.
This is the first time this is the
related.
first time.
Oh, go ahead.
This is the first time I'm looking at the Flutter development itself, and it has a lot of power, but like what I'm getting confused is all the parentheses and subclasses within that. So I think it might take some time for me to wrap my mind around what comes within each of the parentheses, I think. Or is there a logical flow that I can think of, like the scaffold has this and this has that? And is there some logical flow that I should, keep in mind when I'm going through learning the Flutter?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, with anything, you just get more and more familiar, with what's available. Usually, at least for me, the way it's kind of worked is like, hey, I wonder if they have a package to do this. And then I like Google it, or not Google it, but look it up in, pub.dev, and they usually have it. But also they have on dart.dev, they have some good docs that kind of goes through like, language tour and how it all works, the syntax. And also I was looking at this today, effective Dart. So, it has things like, for types, you should use camel case. For name extensions, upper camel case. For libraries, packages, directories, lower case with underscores. But yeah, I had never, really, I wasn't really familiar with Dart like at all until I heard about Flutter. I know Dart's been around a long time, and I found it actually really, pretty nice to use, pretty, common sense kind of, I guess.
If you're in Visual Studio Code, there's some really good extensions that you can use that can help you make it so that these brackets are easier to deal with. One of them is called Bracket Pair Colorizer. And that can change it so that you'll be able to visually see one bracket that is compared to the other one, and you don't have to try and guess as to which one it is. And if you highlight one at the very bottom, it'll show you exactly where that's connected. There's some other bracket pair colorizer. I'm going to post a list in the meeting details of some of the widgets that I think there's a second one too. If you look at the one that's right below it, that's the one that I have. That has a little bit extra stuff, but that makes it much easier when you're working with this. There's some other ones that you can do that will show you the error message in the line of code as you're writing it. And there are some that will get the latest version of whatever package you want when you run that in the palette. To answer your question directly about scaffold and things like that, the big, bird's eye view is that Material app is what you need at the very top for the most part. Any app screen that looks like a totally different screen is probably a scaffold because it's going to have that, app bar that's at the top and then the body, and it may have a drawer that slides out or things like that. And the Widgets Catalog tells you a very good overview of every single thing. And if you're on the website for flutter.dev's widget, get started Widgets Catalog, and then just click basics, it'll show you the very, very bread and butter or most common stuff that you'll see in there. And it's really, really, really helpful, especially as you're just learning this.
Yeah, and to sort of expand upon that a little bit more, the most natural way to learn is to take the application that you're trying to build, look at the designs, and say most things, most elements have a very natural name. So let's say, for instance, you're trying to build a card. Well, there's a card widget. So like you could ask like, okay, how do I build a card in Flutter? And like if you Google that, like you'll see tons of examples. You building your own custom card or building using the material card widget. And same thing, like how do I build a text input? How do I wire up the text input? You'll find that like if you don't want to just sit and read all the documentation, that searching for these things, you'll get very direct answers to your questions.
Yeah, and this I just pulled up this widget catalog, which is really great. So it kind of has it broken down on like everything that you need. If you look, you can go look at layout options. Center, right? So we used center somewhere, I think, or at least one of the other when we started off. Fitted box, sized overflow box. So that's going to like flow over the container. There's animations, so you can have all these things. And I guess the other cool thing is, if you really wanted to, like if I wanted to go look at material app, I can like, I guess, go here and click on it and go to definition. So here under app.dart, like here's what's called, this is material app, which extends stateful widget, which has like all these things and like, I mean, I never look at any of this, but if you wanted to, like I said, since it's all open source, you can go in here and take a look at all of this, and then, oh, what is this? And then you can go to the definition of this, which is like a Boolean, which is, I mean, you can go as deep as you like. But I think, yeah, John, I think that bracket colorizer is really helpful. I think that would have actually probably helped me just a minute ago, because, I guess because I'm closing, I was closing off, different things at different places, right? So I'm closing that. Ooh, that's super nice. Man. Thank you, John.
Yeah, no worries. If you have a comma at the end of something and you press save, it'll automatically format it. So if you see where there's random words, if you get rid of that comma and hit save, it's going to bring the bracket up and put everything closer together. So if you're getting where it's kind of hard to figure out where everything is, as long as you have a trailing comma, it also does a pretty good job of telling you where everything is in the hierarchy. And as things get more and more complex, that's really where the power of pulling something out and making it its own stateless widget, that's where that shines.
Very cool.
I have two questions. So I remember in the earlier of the presentation, you said, we are trying to download the widget, but maybe you should pull one space or to the left or something like that, right? So is that like Python? Is there a space, indentation, or that's not like that? I just wanted to know whether there's anything significant with the space or no space and things like that.
Yeah, so that was for the YAML, and YAML
that's the YAML.
Okay, the YAML file. The YAML didn't like that. The spacing. I'm pretty sure, if I tab this in, I mean, it's not gonna. Well, I have an auto indentation like plugin, where else I could like try to save it. It's just gonna move it back, but I don't think it would. I don't think
it'll run.
Yeah, there's nothing space related in the Dart language, because they use terminator tokens. So those open and close brackets are like terminator tokens for classes and functions, and then semicolons denote the end of a block, a line, basically.
Okay. And also, I'm not familiar with the Visual Studio Code, but is there a debugger on that for the Flutter? Is there something like that? I use PyCharm and other tools, but I'm not sure of the Visual Studio Code.
Yeah,
Um,
so if you're familiar with PyCharm, you don't have to use VS Code. VS Code has first-class support for Dart and Flutter, but you can also use Android Studio for anybody who's a native developer, or if you want to use IntelliJ, they also have plugins as well for IntelliJ. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, just to go through debugging the line by line and seeing,
Okay,
what's
yeah,
good and what's
and
not.
he didn't show this here because we're basically running from the command line. I normally use the command line as well, but
yeah.
you can hit the run button in VS Code and in all of these IDEs that I mentioned. You can hit the run button, and that'll give you an actual debugger where you have your debug console. You can do watch statements. You can also, you see that sort of it's a magnifying glass with the Flutter logo. That will actually pop open the Dart DevTools, which is very similar to, like, if you've done web development, it's very similar to the Chrome DevTools, kind of on steroids, where it has a profiler, it has like a logging page, sort of event page, and then also I think it even has like an HTTP traffic page to like watch all your HTTP traffic. So it is very all-encompassing. And fun fact, the Dart Dev tools were just recently rebuilt, and they were rebuilt in Flutter. So I think like a profiling application is probably the best like production ready version of like a Flutter web application.
Very nice. And I will be eager to join this and learn, as and when, when you guys have the meeting. So is it like, once a month, or how is this organized?
Yeah. We meet on the third Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly, when meeting up in person will be, a thing anymore, a thing again. Um, but we definitely hope to have personal, in-person meetings again at some point.
Wonderful. This is a great presentation. I would love to join and learn a little bit more in progress in learning the Flutter for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's kind of like why we all kind of like to get together. Is we're all still learning it, and the language and the you know, platform is growing still. I mean, like, I don't know, a couple months ago I went and looked at the Flutter version, and they had like updated it with like a patch like twice in like one day or something. It's like constantly evolving, and I think also really like what I like about it the most is that they're also coming out with Flutter Desktop, and like Flutter for Web is coming along really well. Um, so being able to like create your app, have it run on Android, iOS, on a desktop, and web, like all from one code base is pretty awesome. And I think it like eliminates a lot of those, cross-platform problems. So
Yeah, for sure. But, yeah,
but
don't want to hijack more, but my interest towards this thing is, so there is a project called as Code Red, or Node Red, not Code Red, Node Red. That is using a very old version of Angular and Node packages, and my friend was tinkering with it, and he was having panic attacks on modifying the code for one of his project, and I was interested in Flutter because it seems to have so much power, and it's more modern language and things like that. Node-RED has not been updated. The Angular has not been updated at all, and it's very broken. So my learning towards this would be to mimic or create something similar to the Node-RED and see if I can use it in some project. I think so. That's where my interest lies on learning about Flutter, and see how I can progress towards that.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely. I think Flutter works well with a lot of different languages too. Um, for example, my uncle's has a website for illustrators, and basically what I've been able to do with him is he just created me a REST API basically on his back end, and I could, whenever I need things, I just like query them basically from his back end and render them. So there's like ways to, I mean, of course, like ideally you started off your app from scratch in Flutter, but if somebody already has existing technology, it works really, you can work with them with the existing tech too.
Right. Cool, cool. Thank you, Carl. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks everybody for joining. We usually only, well, I guess we're usually done at 7, so we've gone a little bit over, but anybody else have any other questions or also, yeah, before we go, I also wanted to mention, feel free to find us in the Charlotte Devs Slack channel. If you go in the Charlotte Devs channel, you can look up the hashtag Flutter channel. We're pretty active in there, and always happy to drop us a line there and take a look at things. So, well, anyways, well, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next month. Ryan, is there anything else I missed or?